In our previous segment, we delved into the complexities surrounding the Ukrainian military intelligence, known as the DIU, and unraveled some misconceptions related to its various acronyms. We also touched upon a pivotal moment when the DIU gained recognition by playing a crucial role in myriad defense operations. As the Soviet Union crumbled and Ukraine emerged as an independent nation, there was an undeniable need for a robust intelligence framework. Two distinct agencies were established to guide this system, a strategic move seen in February and September of 1992. However, the separate structures proved to be redundant. In a decisive reaction to inefficiency, a presidential decree united both bodies in 1993. With this consolidation came the birth of the DIU, officially renamed on April 14, 1994, securing its standing as an essential part of Ukraine's military capabilities. By the time the sun set on 1995, the DIU was not just a new name, but a formidable force. They took center stage during Russia's initial maneuver to reclaim Crimea, which started with Yuri Meshkov declaring himself the so-called President of Crimea. Following Ukraine's declaration of independence in 1991, a referendum was conducted in Crimea, reaching an astonishing 81% voter turnout, with an overwhelming majority favoring autonomy. This act ignited political fires, with Meshkov's presidency considered a direct challenge to Ukrainian sovereignty. Yet, amidst all this chaos, the DIU rose to the occasion. Their strategic efforts culminated in a significant parliamentary decision in 1995, where they effectively nullified Meshkov's controversial mandate. Crimea was restored back into Ukrainian governance, showcasing the DIU's prowess in both intelligence and political warfare. This was not just a successful operation, it was a defining moment in the quest to uphold national integrity. But the story does not end there. Enter Mykola Verkholiad, a DIU intelligence officer whose name would soon send shockwaves through an unsuspecting world. Serving in Bosnia as part of a peacekeeping contingent, he faced the daunting task during the siege of Zepa. His negotiation with the notorious Bosnian Serb leader, Ratko Mladic, could have turned disastrous. How did he manage to save over 10,000 lives in the face of such peril? Was it sheer bravery or a calculated risk? The answers lie just ahead as we uncover the dramatic twists and turns of Verkholiad's extraordinary operations. An intense phase of warfare unfolded between 2014 and 2022, where the Ukrainian Defense Intelligence Unit, DIU, stood out prominently. Throughout this time, many senior officers showed remarkable courage, sacrificing their lives in the heat of battle. One pivotal moment occurred during the drawn-out conflict for Donetsk Airport, where a unit commanded by Colonel Maxim Shapoval played a crucial role in gathering intelligence on Russian military movements and facilitating operations deep behind enemy lines. This unit's fierce engagement in battles led to their eventual moniker, Cyborgs, a nod to their relentless and precise fighting style. Tragically, Colonel Shapoval was killed in action in 2017, earning the prestigious Golden Star Order of Hero of Ukraine posthumously for his heroism. To honor his legacy, a special reserve of the DIU was named after him. Another brave soul during this tumultuous period was Senior Lieutenant Yevhen Zelensky. Despite the similarity of his last name to the current Ukrainian president, their connection is uncertain. On June 17, 2014, Zelensky and his unit from the 8th Separate Special Forces Regiment undertook a daring mission to free Adar Battalion volunteers held captive by separatists. As they managed to secure the captives, an ambush awaited them during their escape. In a moment of astonishing bravery, Zelensky shielded his comrades from a catastrophic blast by using his body to cover their exit. Unfortunately, he succumbed to his injuries a week later at a military hospital in Kiev, just 23 years old. The tales of ingenuity and valiant efforts from the DIU during this critical time are countless. By the time the situation escalated into a full-scale Russian invasion in 2022, the DIU had become what they humorously called a burr in the saddle for the Russian armed forces. Yet, it was now more fitting to depict them as rows of razor blades, actively disrupting Russian military operations. Fast forward to today, as the dynamics of warfare shift from traditional tactics to a blend of attrition and asymmetric methods, the role of the DIU has transformed drastically. They analyze battlefield intelligence and support military strategies, working closely with international allies. The DIU's mission now encompasses raids behind enemy lines, naval drone operations, and cybersecurity measures, effectively shaking the very core of Russian military infrastructure. Under the leadership of Kirill Budanov, the DIU boasts sophisticated methodologies that expose enemy plans and exploit vulnerabilities in the Russian forces.
In this high-tech warfare era, Budanov states, we execute asymmetric actions that leave the enemy quaking.
Each maneuver disrupts the Russian supply chains and cripples their operational effectiveness. The symbol of their resilience and tactical prowess is striking. In 2016, a new emblem depicted an owl plunging a sword into Russia. This was more than just an illustration, it was a powerful declaration of intent, a direct comparison to the Russian GRU's bat symbol, nature's prey for the owl. With a motto that underscores their strategic brilliance. The wise will rule over the stars. The DIU boldly positions itself against its adversaries, showcasing their readiness to innovate and adapt. As the narrative unfolds, can you sense the pulse of conflict, the bravery echoing in every corner of the battlefield, and the looming question, what unforeseen strategies lie ahead for the DIU? Will their intelligence tactics continue to adjust and evolve as the stakes rise? As the brutal conflict in Ukraine intensified, a secretive force emerged, deftly undermining the might of the Russian armed forces. This dynamic entity is known as the Defense Intelligence Unit, or DIU. Their efforts have morphed into something akin to rows of sharpened blades, relentlessly cutting into enemy lines. By the time the bitter civil conflict escalated into a full-scale invasion in 2022, the DIU's reputation as a formidable thorn in the side of Russian military ambitions was well established. Under the astute leadership of Kirill Budanov, the DIU evolved significantly. Where once sat a solitary reconnaissance unit stationed in Kiev, the agency broadened its reach and scope, becoming a central player in Ukraine's complex struggle. With allies like the CIA and MI6, the DIU collects vital intelligence, conducts daring raids behind enemy lines, and even ventures into naval drone warfare and cybersecurity operations. We expose the Kremlin's strategies, Budanov proudly asserts. His command is a mix of tactical brilliance and unwavering resolve. But what truly sets the DIU apart is not just their missions but their unmistakable emblem. In a powerful display of defiance, the unit unveiled a new logo in 2016, an owl, poised to strike with a sword aimed directly at Russia. This clever design targets the Russian GRU's emblem, which features a bat, an unsettling metaphor for prey and predator. The DIU's motto, "The wise will rule over the stars," starkly contrasts with the GRU's claim of supremacy. It hints at the silent triumphs of countless Ukrainian intelligence officers whose sacrifices often go unnamed. This bold imagery and the story it tells rattled the cages of Russian politicians and journalists alike. An uproar erupted, revealing not only their outrage at being ridiculed but also their fear of the implications it carried. As the battle rages on, each twist in this narrative only deepens the conflict, drawing the line between victory and defeat in a way that echoes louder than the gunfire around them. The fight for freedom is not just on the battlefield but also in the minds and hearts of the people who dare to stand up against the formidable forces arrayed against them. How much longer can the Russian bear remain unchallenged? The stakes have never been higher, and as we delve into the following chapters, prepare to uncover the high-tech intelligence battles and the incredible sacrifices made in the name of freedom. In the midst of an escalating conflict marked by bravery and ingenuity, Ukraine witnessed a pivotal moment on the day of Russia's full-scale invasion. On that fateful day, a group of resolute fighters from Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Unit, alongside the National Guard, stood firm to defend Hostomel Airport in the Kiev region. The objective was clear: halt the Russian paratroopers aiming to seize this vital airfield, which would serve as a launchpad for an assault on the capital. The fierce resistance they mounted shattered Moscow's initial strategy to conquer Kiev within 3 short days. As the war progressed, a remarkable incident unfolded in 2022 when DIU Special Forces, in collaboration with other military groups, embarked on the daring liberation of Snake Island. The powerful moment when Ukrainian forces triumphantly planted their flag became a profound symbol of resilience and victory in the face of overwhelming odds. By the summer of 2023, the role of the DIU had expanded dramatically. Drones emerged as a game-changing force on the battlefield, shifting the dynamics of reconnaissance and dominance both on the front lines and behind enemy lines. Intelligence operations remained a hallmark of their efforts. In August 2023, for instance, the audacious Operation Titmouse unfolded, where the DIU successfully persuaded a Russian Mi-8 helicopter pilot to defect. This maneuver not only brought sensitive information about Russian aviation to Ukraine but also included a valuable cargo of jet parts. The elite unit known as Group 13 rose to prominence as a key player in Ukraine's campaign against Russia's Black Sea Fleet. Their naval drone operations were instrumental in forcing the Russian fleet to retreat from Crimea to safer waters along the coast. The devastating success of Group 13 targeted Russian vessels like the Ivanovets corvette and the landing ship Caesar Kunikov, signaling a significant shift in naval warfare. As technology advanced, the lethality of Group 13's naval drones increased alongside sophisticated NATO-supplied and homegrown innovations. A groundbreaking incident occurred in December 2024 when their Magura drones achieved the unprecedented feat of destroying a Russian Mi-8 helicopter. This marked the first recorded instance of a naval drone downing a helicopter. But the history-making moments didn't stop there. In May 2025, Group 13 etched their names into military history once again by shooting down 2 Russian Su-30 fighter jets over the Black Sea using drones armed with air-to-air missiles, a remarkable first in the annals of warfare. With each bold operation, the DIU continued to evolve as a formidable force, turning the tide in Ukraine's favor and proving that resilience, collaboration, and strategic innovation could defy even the most daunting challenges. As the echoes of gunfire faded, the stories of bravery and sacrifice surged to the forefront, reminding the world of the indomitable spirit of those fighting for their homeland. How far could this newfound prowess take Ukraine in their struggle for freedom? Only time would tell. In a stunning display of audacity, the Ukrainian Defense Intelligence Unit, DIU, has disrupted Russian ambitions with daring raids on Crimea using drones, allegedly beyond their operational range. This has sparked intense speculation among Russian media about the secret technological advancements aiding these covert operations. Could the DIU be deploying advanced drone systems or an ingenious naval mothership to carry unmanned aerial vehicles to the Crimean coastline? The methods employed by the DIU showcase a fluid and dynamic approach to modern warfare that spans not just borders but continents. Their reach extends even as far as Afghanistan, showcasing a history of resourcefulness and bravery dating back before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. During the chaotic takeover by the Taliban, the urgency of the situation called for swift action. On August 22, in the heart of the madness at Kabul's airport, DIU operatives battled through crowds, urgently pulling Ukrainians and others from peril into a waiting Il-76MD aircraft, achieving a daring rescue of 83 individuals. Just days later, with the world watching and chaos reigning, Canada faced a daunting challenge in evacuating its Afghan interpreters after their military efforts stalled. Responding to a heartfelt plea, the DIU leapt into action. On August 27, a mere day after the last Canadian planes had left Afghan soil and following a devastating terrorist attack that left many dead, the DIU executed a second, high-stakes rescue. They successfully saved 29 individuals from imminent execution. Who would have faced unimaginable fates under the Taliban's new regime? Fast forward to February 2024, the DIU unveiled video proof of their impressive reach, showing members of their specialized Timur group interrogating Russian combatants from the infamous Wagner mercenary group in Sudan. This came on the heels of a display of force that showed their drones taking out operative targets who threatened stability in the region. Though the DIU maintains a cloak of secrecy regarding foreign operations, their actions resonate with the promise made by DIU Chief Kirill Obudanov in May 2023, to relentlessly pursue and dismantle Russian war criminals wherever they may hide. The intersection of technology, audacity, and a commitment to justice defines the DIU's evolving role in this modern era of conflict. The world watches, poised as this ongoing saga unfolds with audacious twists and relentless determination. What will they achieve next? As the stakes climb higher, the tension builds. Stay tuned as the battle rages on. In the chaos that erupted during the so-called 12-day war, the Ukrainian Defense Intelligence Unit, known as the DIU, seized the opportunity to strike against manufacturers of devastating drones. While this strategy is understandable, the implications of such military endeavors reach far beyond the battlefield. These operations, targeting foreign soil, raise thorny questions about international law and ethical conduct. The DIU's actions have not been without controversy.
Allegations have surfaced linking them to the assassinations of senior Russian military officials. Take, for instance, the shocking case of Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, who was the head of Russia's nuclear, biological, and chemical defense forces. He met his end in Moscow through a deadly car bomb in December 2024, a meticulous operation allegedly orchestrated with the participation of the SBU, with the DIU being a crucial player in both planning and execution. Opinions vary widely on these operations. Some view these high-ranking officers as deserving of their fate, retribution for their role in the ongoing conflict. Others caution that such tactics may spiral into a cycle of retribution, igniting further unrest that could ensnare innocent lives. After all, wartime ethics are murky, and actions taken in the name of victory can often lead to unforeseen consequences. The DIU has proven itself adept at navigating this dangerous landscape. For many in Ukraine, as long as these methods propel them toward victory, the means justify the ends. Now, as the momentum of war continues to shift, a deeper question emerges: what will be the long-term impact of such shadowy operations? Will they solidify Ukraine's path to freedom, or will they plunge the region into a prolonged cycle of violence? The answer remains uncertain, lurking in the shadows as the conflict unfurls. In a monumental turn of events, the Republic of Crimea was officially reclaimed by Ukraine in 1995, thanks in part to the relentless efforts of the Defense Intelligence Unit, or DIU. This agency played a crucial role in undermining attempts by separatists and Russian influence to solidify control over Crimea. Later that same year, a heroic act unfolded in Bosnia, showcasing the courage and tactical brilliance of one DIU officer, Mikola Verkholiad. Serving as a leader in a peacekeeping mission, he bravely negotiated with Bosnian Serb leader Ratko Mladic during the dire siege of the Zepa enclave. His efforts were pivotal, leading to the safe evacuation of over 10,000 Bosnian Muslims, saving them from a fate similar to the horrific events of the Srebrenica genocide just months prior. From 2002 to 2005, the DIU extended its reach, participating in international missions in Iraq, ensuring peace and stability where chaos reigned. However, in 2003, Russia launched another insidious attempt to invade Crimea, initiating a dam project on Tuzla Island in the Kerch Strait. Yet again, the DIU intervened with remarkable efficiency, thwarting this dangerous annexation plot. But from 2010 to 2014, the shadows loomed larger. The election of pro-Russian President Viktor Yanukovych brought a chilling transformation. He appointed individuals loyal to Russian interests to key positions within the Ministry of Defense. This betrayal systematically dismantled Ukraine's military intelligence capabilities, leaving the DIU vulnerable as civil unrest erupted in the Donbas region. An interstate agreement with Russia further restricted their intelligence-gathering efforts, placing the DIU in a perilous position at a time when they needed to act decisively. Amidst the turmoil, the DIU had to scramble to restore its operational effectiveness, an extraordinary challenge given the circumstances. With fierce determination, they undertook the urgent task of gathering vital intelligence to counter the burgeoning Russian aggression. Throughout the protracted civil war that escalated into full-blown conflict in 2022, the spirit of the DIU shone brightly, marked by heroic sacrifices and the indomitable will of its officers. But what if I told you that amidst the fervor of battle, a single decision could reshape the fate of the nation? The stakes were higher than ever as the DIU prepared for an unprecedented mission. On September 7, Ukraine proudly marked its Military Intelligence Day, a significant occasion dedicated to honoring the remarkable contributions of its Defense Intelligence Unit, known simply as DIU. In celebration, the DIU unveiled a gripping documentary, 33 Years on Guard, portraying the courageous individuals who have fiercely defended Ukraine's sovereignty for over 3 decades. Since Russia's aggressive invasion began in February 2022, the DIU has been at the forefront of Ukraine's defiance, playing an instrumental role in numerous pivotal moments of this ongoing struggle. The tension escalates as DIU Chief Kirill Budanov boldly stated, "Today, our operations are not just active, they're shrouded in innovation and mystery." Let's delve deeper into the compelling narrative of the DIU, its critical role during this war, and its relentless efforts to disrupt and dismantle Russian military operations. Yet, there's a common misconception surrounding the name of this strategic entity. You may have encountered references to the GUR or HUR while tracking the Russo-Ukrainian War. However, these abbreviations can be misleading. Formally recognized as the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, the agency's correct English designation is DIU. The confusion arises from the dual pronunciation of Ukrainian and Russian words where the initial letter can be articulated as either G or H. The DIU was forged from the remnants of Soviet military intelligence following Ukraine's independence, evolving into a crucial player in national defense. Originally, two distinct agencies were created in early 1992, only to be consolidated by a presidential decree the following year. By its establishment in April 1994, the DIU swiftly asserted its presence, notably repelling Russia's initial attempts to seize control over Crimea in 1995. As the audacious struggle for freedom continues, the enigmatic intelligence operations of the DIU have become increasingly sophisticated and vital. Today, they orchestrate intricate strategies involving battlefield intelligence, behind enemy line raids, and cutting-edge cyber operations. In the high-stakes world of international conflict, this unit has transformed into a formidable adversary, undermining the Kremlin at each turn. But as we piece together this narrative of resilience, we must ask, where will this evolving saga lead next? As the war shifts and the stakes rise, how will the DIU adapt and innovate to continue its fierce defense of Ukraine? The next chapter of this story promises to unveil secrets that will send shockwaves through the fabric of military intelligence. Stay tuned, as the unfolding story of courage, cunning, and dedication reveals more than just history. It showcases the relentless fight for identity and independence that defines a nation. In a tense period, the shadows of history loomed over Ukraine. The year was 1995. Thanks to the relentless efforts of the Defense Intelligence Unit, or DIU, the Ukrainian parliament took a stand against the self-proclaimed Republic of Crimea, and the region was returned to Ukraine's embrace. But this victory didn't come easy. Mykola Verkholyad, a dedicated intelligence officer, was not just a name on the records, he became a beacon of hope during the tumultuous times that followed. As a commander in the Ukrainian peacekeeping forces in Bosnia, he stood amidst chaos, negotiating life and death. In the enclave of Zipa, where despair reigned, Verkholyad's bravery led to the evacuation of over 10,000 Bosnian Muslims, saving them from a fate that mirrored the horrors of Srebrenica. The smell of smoke and the screams of the desperate lingered in the air as he orchestrated their escape, a task fraught with peril. From 2002 to 2005, Verkholyad and his fellow officers didn't just engage in peacekeeping in Iraq, they were steadfast guardians, navigating through conflict, facing down adversity. But in the shadows lurked an old adversary. In 2003, Russia attempted another land grab, initiating construction of a dam on Tuzla Island in the Kerch Strait, signaling a second wave of aggression toward Crimea. Thanks to the DIU's strategic intelligence, this bid was thwarted, showcasing their unwavering resolve. However, the years from 2010 to 2014 marked the toughest chapter for the DIU. A pro-Russian puppet, Viktor Yanukovych, took power, and with him came dark days. He planted Russian agents within the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, effectively crippling Ukraine's military intelligence. When the civil unrest erupted post-Maidan in 2014, an interstate agreement with Russia hindered vital intelligence operations. Understanding the size and movements of the Russian military became a near impossible task. As the first shots rang across the Donbass, the DIU scrambled to restore its capabilities. This was no easy feat. Officers faced an uphill battle, racing against time to gather intelligence to counter an impending onslaught. The DIU's resilience shone through as they bravely engaged in combative operations, often with officers sacrificing themselves in the line of duty. They knew failure was not an option. As the war transitioned from a simmering civil conflict into the horrors of a full-scale invasion in 2022, the DIU had transformed. They had grown into a significant obstacle for the Russian military. But would their ingenuity and courage be enough to turn the tide? Would their actions strike deep into the heart of Moscow's ambitions? The answer lay shrouded in the smoke of battle, waiting for an unforeseen twist to emerge. As the next chapter unfolds, the clash of determination and treachery takes center stage, leaving us on the edge of our seats, yearning to know what happens next. In a gripping tale rooted in the complex world of military espionage, the Ukrainian Defense Intelligence Unit, DIU, has found itself at the center of a storm,
battling on multiple fronts for the survival and freedom of its homeland. The season of chaos intensified when Ukraine celebrated its Day of Military Intelligence on September 7, marking the tremendous impact of the DIU in the ongoing conflict against Russian aggression. As they unveiled their documentary, 33 Years on Guard, the stakes were higher than ever, and their story was one of unwavering courage amidst uncertainty. This very unit faced fierce rumors, whispered alliances, and the shadows of unwanted notoriety on the global stage. In the summer of 2024, a peculiar scene unraveled in the Sahel region of Africa. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, all firmly under Russian influence, sought to rally the United Nations against Ukraine, accusing the nation of fomenting international terrorism. Why? A claim emerged that Kiev had provided critical intelligence to Tuareg rebels in their deadly assault on Malian forces. According to Ukrainian spokesman Andriy Yusov, the rebels received the necessary information they needed. But could this bold assertion shatter diplomatic relations forever? Among the murky world of covert operations, the DIU didn't stop there. Following a notable conflict between Iran and Israel, the Iranian Tasnim news agency reported that 3 DIU operatives faced lethal consequences for planning a strike on a drone manufacturing site critical to the very weapons that wreaked havoc on Ukraine. The alleged perpetrators were swiftly sentenced to death, projecting a sense of foreboding over international diplomatic ties. But, why would Ukrainian intelligence risk such drastic measures in an already treacherous landscape? The motivation runs deeper, entwined with revenge against the technology that has ravaged their homeland. However, with whispers of international law echoing in the background, the question looms, are these operations justifiable? As the DIU navigates these turbulent waters, what awaits them? A confrontation with the ramifications of their aggressive pursuit? The unfolding saga is not just about battles and intelligence, it's a complex narrative woven through both pride and peril, where each decision could tip the scales of war and peace. The ramifications of their actions, both at home and abroad, hang in the balance, teetering on the edge of chaos and strategic brilliance. What fate awaits the DIU and its clandestine missions? The story unfolds as tensions rise and the world watches with bated breath. In an electrifying chronicle that delves into the intricate arena of military intelligence, the Ukrainian Defense Intelligence Unit, known as the DIU, stands at the heart of a tumultuous saga, striving for the survival and freedom of its nation. On September 7, Ukraine celebrated its Day of Military Intelligence, shining a spotlight on the formidable influence of the DIU amid Russia's relentless aggression. The release of their documentary, 33 Years on Guard, revealed an account of steadfast bravery against overwhelming odds. Yet, this prestigious unit found itself ensnared in swirling rumors and the grim specter of international scrutiny. As the summer of 2024 unfolded, a scene of intrigue emerged in Africa's Sahel region. Countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, under Russian sway, sought to harness the United Nations against Ukraine, alleging that Kiev was behind an international wave of terrorism. The rebels received the necessary information they needed, asserted Ukrainian spokesman Andriy Yusov. Could these incendiary claims irreparably fracture diplomatic bridges? Amid the shadowy landscape of covert operations, the DIU's actions escalated further. Following a fierce altercation between Iran and Israel, reports surfaced that 3 DIU operatives faced dire consequences for plotting a strike on a drone manufacturing factory. This facility was pivotal to the weaponry that devastated Ukraine. The operatives were swiftly condemned to death, casting a foreboding shadow over the diplomatic arena. But what could drive Ukrainian intelligence to such desperate measures? The answer lies tangled in a profound thirst for retribution against the technology responsible for their suffering. Yet, as the echoes of international law reverberate in their ears, the pressing question arises, are these actions justifiable, or are they a descent into moral quagmire? The DIU weaves through these perilous uncertainties, confronting the potential fallout of their bold ambitions. This isn't merely a tale of skirmishes and espionage, it's a complex narrative underscored by pride and peril. Every tactical decision they make could swing the pendulum between war and peace. As the world watches with bated breath, the stakes soar higher. What will be the destiny of the DIU and its clandestine missions? With tensions escalating and the atmosphere thick with danger, the gripping story is ever evolving,
promising revelations and cliffhangers that will keep hearts racing and minds questioning what comes next.